Hi, today I'm thinking about decision making in wellbeing teams because I'm preparing for a session with my co-production partner Helen next week with a national co-production advisory group, and I want to be able to describe to them how decision making happens in wellbeing teams, because at its heart co-production is about power and decision making and who makes what decisions and how people contribute to different decisions. So this is our organisational structure, and as you can see, the person in their circle is at the centre. The wellbeing team surrounds the person to provide support to them and their circle, obviously bringing in other services and supports as required. And then around the wellbeing team is the wellbeing support team and our co-production and community partners, and their role is to create the conditions that enable the wellbeing team to flourish. And then supporting those teams is the national team of advisors. So here is how our decision making is looking at the moment. And next week we're doing our induction for the wellbeing teams, and I want to be really clear with them the scope of decision making that they have. So let's start with the person first of all. They'll make decisions about their team, when, where and how they're supported, how they keep in touch with their family or their circle, their priorities based on what's working and not working for them, and how to use their budget to reflect their priorities, who they want to facilitate and be part of their circle, the purpose of the circle, and when, where and how often the circle meets. So a significant amount of decision making about who, what, when, where and how people are supported. The wellbeing team themselves will decide who the link wellbeing worker is, because this is done on rotation so that everybody in the team has an equal amount of the people that they're supporting as link wellbeing workers, but then the person chooses the other team members. So link wellbeing workers are a bit like key workers in other organisations. Then they decide on their schedule, reflecting obviously how people want to be supported, and there's a specific role in the team to help that happen. They decide on their roles. There are a range of roles in the team, and they decide who's going to take what role. They decide who else to invite to be part of their team. So that's about recruiting further team members. This decision is made by the team. They decide what stories and examples to share, because one of the roles within the team is the role of storyteller. They decide on their dress code, whether to have a uniform jacket or not. I must admit this was hard for me. There's part of me that wants everything to be consistent everywhere. So in my heart I'd want every wellbeing team to have a jacket with embroidery of wellbeing team on it. But I think it's really important that the teams make that decision, both whether they have a jacket or not, and if they do, what colour, and whether they want the logo embroidered on as well. Who to buddy with, so each team member has a buddy. What to work on or develop or improve based on the tensions that we raise within the team. So tensions comes from holacracy and the decision-making process and the meeting process in holacracy. And the learning about stories and examples then feeds up into the work that the wellbeing support team will be doing, which also feeds into the national team, so that the stories and examples that we share come from local people doing local work, but they also get shared at an international and national level too. What to talk about in team meetings, so we've got a particular structure for team meetings, but team members will describe what tensions and issues to talk about. How to spend their development and learning budget, so rather than a budget for training and development in traditional organisations being held centrally, it's a development and learning budget that's held by the team themselves. And how to create memorable and meaningful moments with people they support and with each other. So that's part of us focusing on flourishing and enabling people to both bring their whole selves to work, flourish at work, and make sure that the people we support have a different and really positive experience of being supported too. Then if you look at the wellbeing support team, now I'm currently sitting in the wellbeing support team for Wigan. I'm the wellbeing leader. This is where the community circle connector, the practice coach and the team coach are. And if you look, there's a very, very small number of decisions that we'll be making. So we are responsible for who to invite to be the first team member. So setting up the first team in a new place is our responsibility, and in Wigan that's in place. What to focus initial development and scenario sessions in. Because we're looking at the induction of the team, for the first 3 months we'll be deciding what to focus those sessions on, but after that the team will work with us to decide what their priorities are around learning and development. Who to invite to be the facilitators of circles is Zoe's role as the community circle connector. And then this is the one that I mentioned earlier, how we take learning from the team and examples and stories and make sure that's shared with local and relevant stakeholders. And then what to work on, develop and improve. We'll be working with the team to identify experiments or things to test and develop, so we're continuing to improve and develop. And then finally, the national team. So the national team of advisors actually hold the organisation and are the organisation at a national and international level. So they make the decisions about who to invite to be part of the wellbeing support team, i.e. recruiting the wellbeing leader, practice coach, team coach and community circle connector that gets the team started. Branding, marketing, websites, suppliers and contractors, and the overall governance structure is within the gift of the national advisors. Where to seed new teams and the pace of scale is things that they'll be deciding on too. But how we learn and grow, develop is threaded through right back to the person in the circle and the team through the process called Working Together for Change and Communities of Practice. So this is where we are in January 2018. What I know is what we think the structure is here will grow and develop as we test it in practice, and it's individuals in their circles and wellbeing teams that will actually be leading the development of what we need, about what's working and what's not working, and what we need to change and grow and explore. Some of that will happen through weekly team meetings, it will happen through person-centred reviews with individuals, team reviews, and our process called Working Together for Change. So I'll be sharing all this with NCAG with Helen, my co-production partner, next week, and we'll let you know how we get on.